This was my first time in Scotland, and I was so excited to see the beautiful scenic sights that I have only seen in photos before. We started out on our 8-day guided tour, and our first stop was here at Loch Lomond, our first loch of many. There are 31,460 freshwater lochs in Scotland, which does include the loch-ins, which are much smaller lochs and are not always there permanently. They appear and disappear depending on the weather. But that number does not include saltwater lochs, so there are many more lochs than just that 31,000.
I'm gonna jump off that, man.
We then walked to this quaint little village Luss, which was built in the 18th and 19th centuries. Rest and be thankful. A spot with stunning views. It got its name from many locals and travelers over the years climbing up to the top from the valley below. An exhausting climb, especially for those herding animals. And so it got its name, Rest and Be Thankful. I think it's quite perfect, don't you? Inveraray Castle! This was exciting for me as a Downton Abbey fan. It was used in the episode when the family visited their cousins in, you guessed it, Scotland. This is the ancestral home of Duke of Argyll, Chief of Clan Campbell. It's been on the shores of Loch Fyne since the 1400s. You can buy tickets and are able to visit inside. Loch Fyne is actually connected to the sea and therefore is a saltwater loch, unlike our first loch, Loch Lomond. On the western shore of Loch Fyne is the town of Inveraray. You can visit the Georgian Inveraray Jail and the bell tower, where the bells are rung regularly. We are now at Kilmartin Glen, where at least 350 ancient monuments are here, and at least 150 are prehistoric. Before even the pyramids were built, you can find cairns built by the early inhabitants of Scotland. Here you can see standing stones, cairns, and rock carvings. The cairns were used as burial grounds for the early peoples. Here I am coming out of an ancient cairn, almost as if I was emerging from the underworld. Inveraray Castle, a ruined 16th century townhouse. It was first built for the first Protestant bishop of the Isles, Master John Carswell. You can still see some of Kilmartin Glen from the tower. We are standing on the first bridge to be built over the Atlantic Ocean, the Clachan Bridge. The bridge connected Seal Island and the Scottish mainland since 1792. Next, we visited St. Conans Kirk. Kirk is the Scottish word for church. The kirk is on the banks of the beautiful Loch Fyne. It is rumored that the bone in the Robert the Bruce Chapel is actually a fragment of bone from Robert the Bruce himself. Robert the Bruce was a king of Scotland who freed Scotland from English rule in 1314 at the Battle of Bannockburn. The castle in the distance is Killin Castle. It was built in the 1400s by Sir Killin Campbell, the first Lord of Glenorchy. Ah, the beautiful Highlands, stunning in their splendor. It was extremely windy, and I was loving it. We then had the experience of riding on a steam train, probably the most exciting train experience I have ever had. While on the train, we went over the bridge used in Harry Potter and by the lake, or I should say loch, also used in the movie. We were off on this lovely ferry taking us to the Isle of Skye. Enjoyed my part 1 of Scotland. I have so much more to show you of this beautiful country. I will be uploading part 2 soon, so stay tuned.